Hi everyone, so we are right now in Florence County, South Carolina, waiting for a news conference to start where I'm told the governor of South Carolina will be here, as well as law enforcement officials to update us on the horrific case that happened Wednesday where 7 law enforcement officers were shot. One of them has died, and I'm told that there are at least 2 others who are, what I've been told, are in bad shape. Let me walk you through exactly what I know. Everything I am about to tell you came from a senior law enforcement official with direct knowledge of the investigation. So let me walk you through it. Yesterday, on or about 4 o'clock Eastern Time, the sheriff's deputies from the Florence County Sheriff's Department went to serve a search warrant at a home in Florence County. The man of the house is a man named Fred Hopkins. He is an elderly man in his 70s. I don't have an exact age. According to law enforcement officials, Mr. Hopkins opened fire on the police officers as they stood at his front door requesting access to the house. The law enforcement officers were going to the Hopkins home because they were investigating allegations of sexual assault of a child. The person who is the subject of that sex assault investigation lives at the Hopkins home. So officials go to the door, they knock. They're trying to gain entry. I'm told they had permission to break the door down if they wanted, but they weren't going to. It's not the way they wanted to handle it. So as they waited for someone to come to the door, my law enforcement source says that Mr. Hopkins, a man in his 70s, opened fire. Mr. Hopkins, I'm told, is a U.S. veteran, a skilled marksman, and a lawyer who in the past was disbarred. Mr. Hopkins allegedly opened fire on the officers, wounding 3 Florence County Sheriff's deputies in his front yard. Immediately, there was a call for backup because there were 2 other deputies who were on the scene who were not harmed. So the call for backup goes out. 4 police officers from the city of Florence respond to the call for backup. And here's how it happens. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what I was told and shown. 4 police officers from the city of Florence are responding to the call of officers down, and they show up at the house. But at least 2 of them park 30 to 50 yards away from the home, and both are shot at that distance, right? So one of the officers, in fact, one of the men who died, I saw his vehicle parked so far away from the home that if you were to yell, the people at the home probably couldn't hear you. But the shooter was allegedly able to, with precision, shoot the officer as he was getting out of his patrol car. I'm told by the law enforcement source the officer who was shot and died, Officer Terrence Caraway, a man who served more than 30 years on the police department in Florence, said, "I'm hit." He fell to the ground, and that's where he died. So the 4 Florence police officers show up as the call for backup, and all 4 of them get shot. At that point, you have 7 law enforcement officers who have been shot. One of them ends up dying. I asked today how the rest of the officers were doing, and I was told that the sheriff's deputies, the ones who were the first to arrive at the house serving the search warrant, and the ones who were the first to be shot, so to speak, are in bad shape. Those are the exact words used by the senior law enforcement official who has direct knowledge of the investigation and also direct knowledge of the condition of these officers. It is a story that has shocked this area. I will tell you a little bit more about what I heard of the Hopkins family. So Mr. Hopkins, the alleged shooter, is at a local hospital. He surrendered to police. Seth Hopkins is a resident of the home. Here's what's unclear. We don't know if Seth is a biological son. We don't know if he's a foster child, an adopted son. We don't know. But Seth, who lives at the home, is, I'm told by the law enforcement source, the subject of the sex assault investigation. And Seth was actually shot as well. We don't know who shot Seth. We don't know if it was the elder Hopkins. We don't know if Seth shot himself, if police shot him. We don't know. But the bottom line is, let me walk you through it again. The elder Hopkins is alleged to have shot all the police officers. The younger Seth Hopkins was shot in the home by someone. He is alive, and again, he is the subject of an investigation involving the sexual assault of a child, and that's why police were at the home. What else can I tell you? Mr. Hopkins, the elder Hopkins, the alleged shooter, again, is a skilled marksman. I'm told he's been a skilled marksman since the 1980s. He was disbarred. It's unclear why. Our team of researchers is pulling that information. We're also pulling other court documents that will hopefully tell us a little bit more about the family. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Hopkins' wife, Cheryl, is also an attorney. She lives at the home. Don't know much more about her than that. Neighbors in the neighborhood have told us the house is a problem house. Deputies tell us they have, the law enforcement official who gave me all this information said, David, we've responded to that house dozens of times. Neighbors, again, call it a problem home. In fact, a lot of neighbors in the neighborhood were afraid to tell us exactly what they knew because they said, David, we're afraid that the woman's gonna, try and sue us or something like that. But no one in the neighborhood had anything nice to say about sort of the drama that comes from that house, whether it's police showing up or calls to 911 or the kids just getting into trouble. So I'm just laying it all out for you, telling you exactly what we have. We'll continue to post more on cbsnews.com. I'll do more here on social media. There's a news conference happening probably within the last hour. We're waiting on the governor of South Carolina to show up. He'll be at the news conference. And of course, our next televised update will happen tonight on the CBS Evening News. We'll see you then.